Now the purpose of this video is to show you how to create dynamic special effects in Reaper. And what I mean by that is effects that change based on the dynamics of what you send or the signal on the track. So a project setup here with a guitar part, using an amp and an EQ right after. Let's hear what it sounds like now. Just a simple, clean electric guitar sound along with a drum loop. So the first effect I want to try is a tremolo. Let's double click over here to add a tremolo after, and we'll choose the tremolo effect right here. I'm going to make it a bit slower and adjust the amount of the tremolo. We could also adjust the stereo separation to pan with the tremolo. But this effect is basically static. In other words, it doesn't change based on the dynamics of the sound. It just plays the effect no matter what. All I want it to do is turn on and off or fade in and out based on the dynamics of the guitar, like this. Or for stereo, it would sound like this. So we can do that by using parameter modulation. We can click this parameter as the last touched parameter, go to our menu, and choose parameter modulation, which opens up this dialog. We can turn on audio control signal to trigger the effect based on the dynamics of the guitar. So I'm going to choose the track audio channel to be 1 and 2, and we can adjust our minimum volume to be the sensitivity of the effect. We could leave the max volume alone. Let's make the attack and release a bit quicker. Let's also change the direction to be negative, as you want the volume of the guitar to go in the opposite direction of the tremolo. We can see the signal over here. But you could also adjust the shape like this or like this. But most of the time, you can just leave it like this for a linear effect. Then we can adjust the attack or how quickly it changes. Or the release, how quickly it comes out of the effect. So in this situation, the amount is changing and bouncing back to 0. If you want it to go slower, you can make the release longer. Or start out quicker or more smooth. Let's hear it in mono. Notice the effect is mostly muted at the beginning when the guitar is louder and comes in as the sound fades away. So that's a tremolo effect. Let's try another. Let's turn this off for now, and let's try creating a filter. I'll add an effect like an EQ. We'll use re-EQ. I'll delete all the bands except for one, make it a low pass, turn it on, hold on the shift key to give it some bandwidth, and filter it like this. Now we could use an LFO to create a motion effect, but instead, I want to do this based on the volume of the guitar, like we did with the tremolo. So again, I'll touch this parameter as the last touched parameter, go to the menu, and choose parameter modulation. And again, the dialog opens up. We'll turn on audio control signal and choose 1 and 2. And do the same thing for this. We'll keep the direction positive, adjust the minimum volume as the sensitivity for the effect. And adjust the baseline to choose what frequency it works on. And again, adjust the attack to be quicker or a quicker release. Or slower. And we can move it in the opposite direction by choosing negative over here and readjusting our baseline. But I like it better choosing positive. Something like that, as we're adjusting the filter based on the volume of the guitar. And we could also combine the tremolo and the filter by turning both of them on. But the one problem with doing it this way is the tremolo is affecting our filter. If we don't want to do that, we could separate it in parallel by going to the EQ after the amp, go to the pin outs, and let's add some more track channels. I'm going to add 8 for now, and then send it left and right for each pair. And now, for the EQ, we could choose 3 and 4 instead. And now, the filter will work around the tremolo. In other words, ignore it. And now, we can turn the tremolo on, and they'll work separately from each other. Let's try another effect. Let's turn off tremolo and the filter, and let's add a delay. And I saved an effects chain earlier. Go to my effects chains for a quarter note delay with a panner. Double click this, and this delay is a quarter note with some feedback and a filter, but notice I have some parameter modulation that's panning the effect. So the delay is going to sound like this. Panning back and forth. But again, I want this effect to behave dynamically based on the volume of the guitar, creating an effect like this. And we can do that the same way. Choose this as the last touched parameter, go to parameter modulation, opens up the dialog, turn on the audio control signal, and this time we'll choose 5 and 6 to go around our tremolo and filter. so they'll behave separately from the others. Just getting volume from the guitar amp and the original EQ, not our filter. We'll set this to be negative, start off with a quick attack and release, and adjust the minimum volume as our sensitivity for the effect. And the baseline adjusts how much of the effect we get, or the height of this parameter. And again, we could adjust the attack and release. Notice with a slower release, it takes longer for this parameter to go up. Let's hear it with the other effects, starting with the tremolo. And also with the filter. Obviously, we don't have to use all three, but you could if you wanted to. And then finally, let's try a reverb. Let's turn these off for now. Add a reverb. One of my favorites is a free one called Magic 7. I'll leave a link to it in the description below. And it looks like this. I'm going to choose Spaces 1 and the preset West Church. And for this, I want to bring this up with the mix knob to give it an organ-like effect. Something like this. Just by adding some reverb. So again, we'll touch this parameter as the last touched parameter. Go to parameter modulation. Again, we'll choose audio control signal. And this time we'll choose 7 and 8 to go around the other effects. We'll make this one negative as well. Start off with a quick attack and release and adjust the sensitivity over here. Then adjust the baseline to get the mix knob over here about halfway. And then adjust the attack and release. For the speed, we want this to fade up. If we want it to be quicker, make a quicker release. Or a slower release. I kind of like that. Let's hear it all together, starting with the tremolo. Bring in the delay. And then finally, the filter. Of course, we don't have to use all these. We can just use our favorites, 1 or 2 or 3, maybe these 3. Or all 4 if we want. And of course, we could do this with any effect you want. Any parameter could be adjusted based on the volume of the source you feed it. I just wanted to show you some examples using a tremolo, a filter, a delay, and a reverb. But you could use any effect or any parameter you want and base it on the sound source you choose. So that's pretty much it. That's dynamic special effects in Reaper. I hope you learned something, hope you can use it, and I'll see you next time. Thanks.
Bingo, boys, let's go.
Bye.